What is going on, everybody? ZyoniK here, and in today's video, we have a unique battle submission with a Shadow Girafarig in the Ultra League. My goodness, I want to see how well this thing can potentially do. I would have never thought, but they said they happened to be lucky enough to get a Hundo Shadow, so why not give it a try? Hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and shout out to Jim Benning for sharing these battles with us. Alright, getting into the first battle, we have Obstagoon on the lead versus Registeel. Okay, so pretty positive matchup right here, but obviously has to watch out for the Focus Blast. But when you're talking about good leads, this is obviously going to be the best one considering the backline. Now, they're going to go ahead and go for Cross Chop here for that super effective damage, but Registeel is so thick, it really isn't too bothered. But now Obstagoon, even though this is pretty much a winning matchup, they are forced to shield. And it was a Zap Cannon as well, looking to get that attack debuff. And this is a good play here. Obstagoon making sure they overload a little bit on energy just in case we do see a swap out. So they're going to go ahead and throw the next Cross Chop. This is going to be a race to the next charge move, and they do get to it in time. Now potentially forcing the first shield of this game from Registeel, which they do get. The question is, do they let this go? Yeah, they're going to let it go. Obstagoon is about to get boomed. Boom. See ya. In comes the Skuntank to do a very hard poison jab farm down, having a lot of energy now. And on the back end, we will see a Gliscor. So they're going to go ahead and go for the Crunch. Both Crunch and Flamethrower here do neutral damage, but Crunch is that same type attack bonus, and it has the potential to debuff your opponent. So they're going to go ahead and look to stand and go for another one right away. And what's cool about this matchup too is Gliscor has to land an Earthquake in order to take out the Skuntank as Night Slash is resisted. And they got shield number 2 right there. That is huge as the Earthquake, boom, takes out the Skuntank. In comes the Girafarig, and I'm here for it because this is going to be an unshielded Thunderbolt here against the Tapu Fini. They're going to go ahead and safely shield this charge move. Overload on energy, I would guess, do a little bit, couple extra fast moves. 2 is fine. Yeah, 2 is fine. They're going to go ahead and go for the Thunderbolt now, and this is going to be a good game. Very well played. Boom. Down goes the Tapu Fini. In comes the Gliscor and gets hit with a Psychic Fang. So a clean sweep right there from the Shadow Girafarig, and that is going to be a good battle. Alright, what I'm noticing is Girafarig has to align in neutral matchups, like that Registeel. You got to get it out of the way. Alright, we got a Alolan Muck here on the lead. Again, a nice neutral matchup, but definitely could, and it's going to be Poison Jab as well. That's something to note. If you are the Obstagoon here, is the energy gain isn't as good as Snarl, but you are taking that neutral damage, especially since they are going for Acid Spray now. We're going to see that Cross Chop come through. Now, this is a tough situation for Obstagoon because the longer they stay in, the more damage they take from Poison Jab. So this might be a situation where they try to swap out into Skuntank. Okay, they're going to go ahead and let the next one go through. This is likely going to be another Acid Spray, and this is the opportunity for them to potentially swap out as they're going to go ahead and go for the Cross Chop. And if they don't swap out, then they're hoping to risk it and race to the third Cross Chop. They do get a shield, so yeah, they're going to risk it. They're going to go for another one in time. And now this is where the swap out could happen. They really don't want to get caught getting fully farmed down. Yep, here comes the Skuntank. Going to go ahead and commit to that farm down. We see a swap out into Swampert now, which is going to be a very tough Pokemon to deal with. But thankfully, they do have 2-to-1 shield advantage in this situation, as Crunch is going to be landing for a ton of damage. And you can already see that Confusion is going to chunk that Swampert, and they're going to bank on that as they let the Hydro Cannon go through, which is not enough to take out Skuntank, and they get to the Crunch in time. This is huge now, hoping to force shield number 2 of this game, and they get it. So Girafarig with the defense drop. Girafarig could come in and do 1 Confusion and farm down. Yeah, they're going to go ahead and come in, get 1 Confusion off, safely give up a shield here as the Swampert shouldn't be able to get to a 3rd Hydro Cannon in time as it went down to 1 Confusion. The Muck is about to get farmed down. They're going to give up shield number 2 now on the potential Dark Pulse, but it's just going to be an Acid Spray. Final Pokemon is going to be a Pidgeot. You got to be kidding me. Girafarig going to be landing the Thunderbolt for free right here. You'll love to see it. Boom! Nearly one-shots as Confusion will take it out. Who knew? Girafarig, the best anchor in the Ultra League right now. All right, we got Obstagoon versus Alolan Ninetales. All right, this is a game I want to see. They're going to go ahead and look to swap out. That is Charm Alolan Ninetales as well. They're going to go ahead and swap out into the Girafarig. Here comes Giratina Altered. And here comes what might be the most unsuspecting, deadly swap in with the Confusion and Psychic Fangs is they're resisting Shadow Claw, and we'll have to see if this is Dragon Claw. No, it's going to be Shadow Sneak. That's going to be resisted, and look at the damage from Confusion. Here comes another Psychic Fangs. This lowers your opponent's defenses, which makes you do so much more damage as they can safely shield this charge move and take Switch now from Giratina Altered. So a Girafarig just took down Giratina Altered, able to align Skuntank to the Alolan Ninetales, and they're going to go ahead and go for the Psychic Fangs here. Once again, neutral damage, applying the debuff, and Skuntank can come in and get a lot of, below 50% HP. We see a swap into Tapu Fini, and this is going to be a good game as Skuntank with the fast move of Poison Jab is going to be running through this team. They're going to go ahead and go for the Crunch now, even though it is resisted, and swapping into Obstagoon here. And the reason being, you may be like, well, why would they just leave out of that matchup? They need to save health on Skuntank in order to win this game. Boom. Oh, no. I'm sorry. Counter. Take that boom back. Bring it back in. The Obstagoon was able to survive and get off a Night Slash. The reason being is Skuntank has to finish this game off and Poison Jab down the Tapu Fini, and now Poison Jab down the Charm Alolan Ninetales. And with Charm, the energy gain is not going to be very good, so they can safely shield this Weather Ball and fully farm down with fast moves. Do not go for a charge move here as the opponent decides to surrender, so that's going to be a good battle. Alright, moving into the next one. Let's see what we have here. That Girafarig into Giratina Altered was so satisfying. That's the devastation that can be shown with Confusion and Psychic Fangs. Alright, we got Obstagoon now versus Tapu Fini. Again, another bad matchup. They're going to go ahead and go into the Girafarig right here. We saw what this thing can do with Thunderbolt, and we are seeing what it can do with Confusion as the opponent is deciding to stay in and get off a charge move. So the Girafarig will give up one shield here to stop that Surf. Question is, the opponent now swapping into Shadow Gliscor, and this is another situation that I really want to see. What kind of damage output are we going to be seeing with Psychic Fangs and Confusion as a double Psychic Fangs will be landing? We might see a shield here on the second one, which we do, and this is a purified Gliscor as well, so they're probably going to let this go. Yeah, they decide to shield. Girafarig really wants to take down the Shadow Gliscor as they now get to another Psychic Fangs in time, looking to force shield number 2 here. And the thing is, can they swap out and catch the charge move? No, they can't. It was a CMP tie. So Girafarig wins the CMP tie against Gliscor. That is crazy, as Night Slash is going to be taking it out. They're going to come in with the Obstagoon and fully farm down right here. Yeah, I think they should be able to fully farm down, and Night Slash won't be enough to do any damage here to the Obstagoon, as we will see them counter swap back into Skuntank right away to get ahead on energy for that backline matchup, as we will see the Tapu Fini swap out, and it's going to be a Galarian Stunfisk, and this is what Flamethrower is built for. The question is this going to one-shot? This is a Shadow Skuntank, and it is super effective damage, but no, it's not enough to one-shot right there, which is unfortunate. Now, Galarian Stunfisk is going to have to throw an Earthquake. And this is the tough situation because Skuntank will go down. Boom, down it goes. And in comes the Obstagoon in a good position to farm down after this cross chop. So they have probably back-to-back Night Slashes that they can throw against the... Oh, no! They get the Rock Slide off. This is now going to be critical because Tapu Fini might just need... No! It's an Earthquake! Even worse! The Tapu Fini now coming in. It's going to be a race to the Surf and the second Night Slash here. Let's see if they can... Okay, Night Slash is definitely not enough damage, and they have the Surf, so that's a good battle. And that's a tough thing as well. Galarian Stunfisk matchup would be a lot better if that Skuntank had the 1-0 shield, but unfortunately, Flamethrower is not enough to one-shot a Galarian Stunfisk, but an Earthquake can one-shot the Skuntank, as we saw. Alright, we got Giratina Altered on the lead with a swap into Cobalion, so they're going to go ahead and go for the cross-chop right away, but the question is, do they swap out? I think they're going to be forced to here, and we will see the Girafarig come into this matchup. Confusion doing neutral damage, and they just got to be careful about that Stone Edge. But the draft doesn't care. They're going to go ahead and let the Stone Edge go through. It is able to survive as they take neutral damage from fast moves. And now they're going to go ahead and safely shield and commit to the farm down with Confusion, having double Psychic Fangs ready to go on the back end for this Giratina Altered. Now, hopefully they can get 2 off here. Shadow Claw is not going to be enough to one-tap, basically, with one fast move. So let's see what decides to come in. It is going to be Giratina altered, so they should safely get back-to-back Psychic Fangs right here, applying that debuff, doing some nice neutral damage. Yeah, they do get back-to-back, and then Obstagoon can come in. But we'll have to see what that final Pokemon is going to be, as Skuntank is going to have a 1-2 shield matchup, which can be very detrimental for them. And it's actually going to be a Tapu Fini, so this is like best-case scenario, as you can easily commit to the farm down right here with Poison Jab. They're going to go ahead and let the Surf go through, try their best to get to a crunch here to apply some shield pressure, because then Obstagoon on this back end is going to have a lot more favorable of a matchup against the Giratina altered, as now they're trying to Poison Jab as desperately as possible, and this is the tough situation. They're going to go ahead and commit to the shield here so that they can farm down and throw a crunch against the Giratina altered, forcing the final shield of this game. But Obstagoon has plenty of health and has a good amount of energy where they should be able to get to 2 Night Slashes in time. So here comes that crunch. It gets shielded. They're going to get farmed down with Shadow Claw. So Giratina altered has a lot of energy right now. Obstagoon actually had way less energy than I thought, so this actually might be a loss here. 1 Dragon Claw comes through. It's going to take 3. So here comes the next Night Slash. Hopefully this is enough damage, but I don't think so. I think Giratina altered just barely hangs on. Yes, it does! Oh no! If it's 2 more Dragon Claws, I think it's game over. And with the amount of energy that Giratina altered has been able to farm down, yeah, it gets to it in time. Unfortunate right there. Giratina altered hangs on with like 8 HP in a dream. I don't really know. Maybe like 5. Something like that. But good game. Alright, moving to the next battle. We have Obstagoon on the lead versus Trevenant. Another really nice positive matchup, so let's see how they decide to play this out. The opponent is deciding to stay in. This could be a tell that they are weak in the back to the potential dark typing here, or even the fighting move of counter and cross chop. So maybe there's a Registeel or something like that in the back, maybe Wall Rain. We'll have to see, as Night Slash now is going to be coming through and forcing potentially the first shield of this game. Trevenant actually decides to let it go, and we get an attack boost. Here we go. Turn up Obstagoon. This is what you love to see, as they swap out now into a Sylveon. Very interesting, as Sylveon's just going to get deleted here by the Shadow Skuntank with Poison Jab, and this is a quick attack Sylveon as well, which gains energy pretty quickly, so they have to watch out for the Moonblast. So they're going to go ahead and let this... Oh, they're going to give up the shield. That's a good shield right there on that Moonblast, as now they can commit to the full farm down and have crunches. This poor Trevenant has nowhere to go. Has crunches ready to go, and it's going to be an Empoleon in the back. That makes a lot of sense. That's why the Trevenant stayed in a bit longer, because the Empoleon was weak to those fighting moves that I was talking about. And thankfully, they can go for Flamethrower and crunches right here, applying so much pressure. And honestly, like you, I want to see the Girafarig delete the Trevenant. So, Empoleon now is going to have to throw a charge move. Otherwise, the Skuntank gets to another crunch in time, forcing the final shield of this game. So now they're going to counter swap back into Obstagoon here to tank the Hydro Cannon. And we get to see what I want to see. We get to see Girafarig versus Trevenant, as now the Empoleon is going to be taking out the Obstagoon with the Hydro Cannon. Girafarig is going to come in, and this is going to be beautiful right here. Again, the typing of normal Psychic is really nice against Ghost moves, because even though you have that added Psychic typing, you still resist the Shadow Claws right here, as Confusion is going to be chunking down. They can safely... I think Hydro Cannon is the hardest move left, but Seed Bomb is perfectly fine to shield right here, as they can go for the back-to-back before going down to the final Confusion. So, Girafarig able to hang on and able to get off the Thunderbolt now to finish off this game. So that is going to be a good battle. Very well played. Boom. Down it goes. Alright, Shadow Girafarig. Doing really well today. Next battle. We have Obstagoon on the lead versus Swampert. Okay, so kind of a tough neutral matchup. Both sides will have to give up a shield in order to win this one. It's typically done when they're at lower health. We usually don't see a shield right away because it doesn't threaten the health or the remaining HP of these Pokemon. So we're going to go ahead and see the first Hydro Cannon come through. Obstagoon is going to let it go, but it's that second one that we'll have to watch out for that critical shield here. So they're going to go ahead and go for the next Night Slash, and this is a situation where Swampert might want a shield, and they decide not to. So now Obstagoon can safely... Ooh, this is going to be close. Obstagoon might be able to commit to the farm down. They're actually deciding to let it go. Hydro Cannon not going to be enough. And now Here comes the next one, so they can easily let this go and probably come in with the Skuntank to farm down because you really want energy on that. And with the resisted ground typing right there, you can get 2 poison jabs in for free. All right, we see an Alolan Muck come in. So Dark Poison versus Dark Poison, and thankfully this Skuntank has that neutral move in order to win this matchup, which is going to be that Flamethrower. As you guys are going to see, Dark Pulse doesn't do too much damage, but a Flamethrower from a Shadow Skuntank is going to put pressure here on the Muck as they decide to no shield the first one. We see a counter swap into Charizard. So now we're going to see a crunch coming through, but not before a Dragon Claw can land. And do I get to see a Shadow Girafarig versus a Charizard full farm down into deleting the Alolan Muck on the back end? I think so, as Crunch now is going to get shielded. In comes the Shadow and the defense drop. In comes the Shadow Girafarig to fully farm down. They can safely give up a shield here as the opponent will not be able to get to 2 Blast Burns in time or a Dragon Claw and Blast Burn because of the confusion damage. It gets fully farmed down. Muck is coming in and they can safely go for Psychic Fangs to close this game out. So Shadow Girafarig is putting in work. The opponent decides to no shield, and yeah, that is going to be a good game. Very well played. And a beautiful setup for them. You don't necessarily need to win that lead matchup. You just need to get them low enough to give yourself an opportunity with Skuntank to come in and farm down. Good game. All right, we got Shadow Ampharos here on the lead. This is obviously a very deadly Pokemon in the meta, but thankfully Obstagoon can do quite a bit of neutral damage to it with Night Slash Encounter. So here comes that first one. They decide to let it go. No boost. But here comes the first charge move from Ampharos, and it could, I think that was enough energy for Focus Blast. They're going to risk it and let it go, and it's just going to be a Thunder Punch, which is perfectly fine. We see a swap out now into Cobalion. So here comes the Cross Chop, and then we will see that counter swap into the Girafarig to get ahead on energy and lock this Cobalion down. Now, we saw how much damage Stone Edge did before, and they really need to look to block that. They're going to go ahead and shield. And it was the Sacred Sword this time. That is so unfortunate. Here comes the next one. And the opponent surrendered. Wait, no, what? Oh, sorry. I saw the pop-up right there. I thought that was Battles 1. That was maybe a Go Plus caught while they're battling in the background. So they're going to go ahead and go for Psychic Fangs. Sorry, I just saw the pop-up on the bottom. And I just instantly think that's the surrender, right? So we see another Psychic Fangs come through. Did it just get a shield from that Ampharos? I think it did. Oh, it got deleted! My goodness! Now we see the Cresselia come in, so they're going to go ahead and go for another Psychic Fangs. Even though this is resisted, it applies that defense drop, which is going to help out the Skuntank and Obstagoon to close this game. And that is looking to be a good battle. They can safely let this charge move go through, as Obstagoon is going to be the win condition here basically for them with a Night Slash. Now, Skuntank can get to 2 crunches here if they shield one of the charge moves. Maybe they can even survive the next Moonblast. It's going to be pretty close, but I think the play is to shield and get to that next crunch. But let's see what they decide to do. Maybe they survive. Yeah, they're going to let it go. And it was just the Grass Knot. Okay, so that was an energy count right there by them, and there's the surrender right there. All right, good battle. Moving into the next one. We have Obstagoon on the lead versus Scrafty. Okay, so this is kind of a tough one. Scrafty can do incredibly well against this whole team. So this is one of those situations where you kind of have to stay into this matchup even though it's losing. Even though you have the dark normal typing, you have to stay in here against the Scrafty because it's going to do so well against your backline. And you probably have to no shield as well, which is unfortunate, and I don't think they're going to be able to get to another cross chop in time, but they have to just get this Scrafty as low as possible, and now come in with Skuntank to fully farm down with Poison Jab. And this is what's tough. Let's see if they can come back from this, because Scrafty is on a tear for this team right now. I think the Skuntank survives another power-up punch. It's going to be, I mean, they will survive, yeah. They will survive, but they are extremely low. Now we see a Sylveon come in with Charm, so they're going to go ahead and go for Flamethrower here to try to get the final shield. And now it's going to be all up to Girafarig to win this game. Let's see if it can do it. The opponent swaps out into Ampharos, and now it's Psychic Fangs and Confusion versus Volt Switch and probably, I mean, they might have Brutal Swing. Okay, let's just say Brutal Swing here. Let's see what it's going to be. But I think the Shadow Girafarig is easily going to be taking this one because of the debuffs with... Yeah, it is going to be Brutal Swing. They can easily take this one with Confusion damage. They have to fully shield. Sylveon is still in the back with a good amount of energy. And now they're just going to commit to the... Oh, they go for the Psychic Fangs here. I thought maybe they commit to the full farm down with Confusion. But the opponent decides to let it go through with 2 shields. All right, that is going to be a good game. All right, moving to the next one, we got Obstagoon versus Swampert once again. So like before, it's going to come down to the very end who's going to give up that final shield. And we actually saw Obstagoon survive 2 Hydro Cannons in this situation. It was very close, which really comes down to probably IVs right there. But Hydro Cannon now... looking pretty strong as they decide to let it go through as a Night Slash now. Let's see if we get a boost here. No boost, but a counter swap into Charizard. So they're going to go ahead and build up and go for a Night Slash. And now this is kind of a tough situation. You can't really swap out because you're so far behind on energy. So you have... Oh, there's the boost! You have to stay in with Obstagoon. And now Charizard's in a position where they can safely go for Dragon Claws here to try to take them out, but they go for the Blast Burn instead. In comes the Shadow Skuntank to commit to the farm down, as Charizard is going to be throwing charge move number 2, and Skuntank is going to let it go. It's going to be another Blast Burn. My goodness, that does an incredible amount of damage, and it's purely up to Girafarig in order to win this game, as they are looking to go for the crunch right away as Swampert comes in and sneaks that Mud Shot through. Girafarig, do you have what it takes to win? We get a shield, we see the swap out, and it's going to be a Staraptor in the back. Confusion is doing so much damage that they can safely go for a Psychic Fangs here to force this final shield from the opponent, and if they don't, it's gonna go down, and now it's Swampert versus Girafarig, but Girafarig has 2 shields. Another Psychic Fang coming through to apply that defense drop, and Confusion is gonna be winning this one, as they safely give up these shields to stop the Hydro Cannon, and that is going to be a good game. Very well played. Yes, they get to it in time. So Girafarig once again sweeping the backlines of these teams. Whew, good game. All right, I think we might have one more. That was the last one. Okay, so really fun team. Jim Benning, thank you for sharing this with us. Obstagoon, Shadow Girafarig, and Shadow Skuntank. What we saw was just... you trust in Girafarig once you get out what might be the hardest counter to it, and you give it shield advantage, and it just chunks through teams. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and like always, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.